What comes to mind when you hear the word power? For many, it evokes images of dominance, control, or even corruption. But what if I told you that the Stoics, and Marcus Aurelius in particular, had a radically different view of power? One that has the potential to transform your life and your impact on the world. You see, for the Stoics, true power wasn't about external trappings or the ability to bend others to your will. It was about something far deeper and more profound, the power to master your own mind, to live with integrity and purpose, and to bring out the best in yourself and others. In this video, we'll dive into 11 compelling reasons why cultivating this kind of inner power is essential, drawing on the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers. We'll explore how power enables us to live freely and boldly, to overcome adversity with resilience, to effect positive change in the world, and much, much more. Whether you're a leader looking to inspire your team, an individual seeking personal growth, or simply someone who wants to live a life of meaning and impact, this video will provide you with a powerful lens through which to understand and harness the true potential of power. Number 1. Power enables one to shape their destiny. Power enables one to shape their own destiny rather than being subject to the whims of fate or the actions of others. The Stoic philosopher Seneca emphasized this point when he wrote, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." Having power and agency over your life allows you to make decisions aligned with your values and goals. You can proactively work to create the life you want instead of simply reacting to external circumstances beyond your control. When you lack power, you are at the mercy of forces outside yourself, whether that be chance events or the choices of those who hold authority over you. But by cultivating power through virtuous living, self-discipline, wisdom, and sound judgment, you gain the ability to captain your own ship, even in turbulent seas. Power acts as a bulwark against misfortune. This doesn't mean Stoics seek power for its own sake or to dominate others. Rather, power in the Stoic conception is the power to live with moral courage, the power to remain steadfast and serene in the face of adversity, the power to govern one's own mind and actions. It is an inner power, a strength of character. Marcus Aurelius touches on this in his Meditations when he reflects that the only thing under our control is our own reasoned choice, how we decide to think and act. Everything else, being outside our power, should not be the focus of our concern or desire. By mastering yourself and exerting power over what is within your control, you secure your freedom and peace of mind. Number 2. With power, one can protect and provide for those they care about. When we have power, whether through wealth, influence, skills, or knowledge, we can use it to create safety and stability for our families and dependents. We can ensure they have access to necessities like food, shelter, healthcare, and education. We can shield them from threats and help them navigate challenges. Providing such protection and support is one of the most meaningful applications of power. Furthermore, Stoics believed that we have a duty to contribute positively to society as a whole. With power comes the opportunity to make a real difference in the lives of others beyond just our immediate circle. We can use our resources and platform to advocate for just causes, assist the vulnerable, and work towards the common good. Marcus Aurelius frequently reflected on the importance of using his power as emperor wisely and benevolently. He saw his position not as a privilege to exploit for personal gain, but as a weighty responsibility to serve the people. In his Meditations, he reminds himself to be ever vigilant in your role as caretaker of the empire and its populace, and attend to their needs with foresight and wisdom, ever striving for their betterment. Of course, the Stoics cautioned against being attached to external trappings of power like status or material wealth. The only true good lies in virtue. But they recognized that certain forms of power, when used rightly, can be instrumental in living out Stoic values, like justice, wisdom, self-discipline, and courage. Power amplifies our ability to embody these ideals and fulfill our duties. Number 3. Power allows individuals to effect change and make a positive impact on the world around them. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of engaged citizenship and contributing to the greater good. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bees." We all have a stake in the well-being of the communities and systems we are part of. When we have power, we can leverage it to address problems, implement solutions, and create value for others. This could take many forms: using wealth to fund important causes and initiatives, using expertise to solve complex challenges, using a leadership position to make ethical decisions and set a positive example, or using a platform to raise awareness about critical issues. The Stoics believed that we should not simply be passive observers of life, but active agents working to make things better. Marcus Aurelius himself embodied this principle during his reign as Emperor of Rome. Despite the immense demands of ruling an empire, he sought to govern with wisdom, justice, and compassion. He instituted various reforms aimed at improving the lives of his subjects, such as providing assistance to the poor and creating a more equitable legal system. Of course, effecting change is not always easy, even for those with power. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control and accept what is not. We may face obstacles, setbacks, and resistance in our efforts to make a positive impact. But as Seneca noted, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. The challenges we encounter in wielding power virtuously can help us grow in character and resilience. Ultimately, Stoicism encourages us to see power not as an end in itself, but as a tool for doing good and furthering worthy aims. It is an opportunity to put our principles into practice and leave the world a little better than we found it. As Epictetus wrote, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." With patience, persistence, and principled action, power enables us to sow positive seeds that can blossom over time. The Stoic path is not one of passive resignation, but of active engagement with the human condition. When we have power, however great or small, we must ask ourselves, how can I use this to make a difference? How can I apply it in service of wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline? By doing so, we fulfill our potential as agents of positive change. Number 4. Having power means having the freedom to make choices and decisions. At a fundamental level, power gives us options. It expands the range of possibilities open to us and allows us to steer our own course in life. Rather than being constrained by external circumstances or the dictates of others, we can choose our own path and shape our own destiny. This ability to make meaningful choices is central to our sense of agency and self-determination. Of course, the Stoics recognize that our freedom is not unlimited. We are all subject to certain constraints and limitations, whether imposed by nature, society, or fate. But within those parameters, we still have the power to decide how we will think, feel, and act. As Epictetus put it, "You are but an impression, and not at all what you seem to be." Our true self lies in our reasoned choice, not in our external conditions. When we have power, we have more room to exercise this inner freedom. We can make decisions aligned with our values, goals, and principles. We can resist external pressures and influences that don't serve us. We can take ownership of our lives and steer them in the direction we want to go. This is the essence of autonomy, the ability to govern ourselves according to our own rational judgment. Moreover, having the power to make choices enables us to live with greater dignity and integrity. We can act in ways that are true to our deepest convictions and highest ideals. We can stand up for what we believe in, even in the face of adversity or opposition. We can conduct ourselves with honor, courage, and self-respect. In short, we can be the authors of our own story. Marcus Aurelius touched on this theme in his Meditations when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By cultivating inner freedom and self-mastery, we can weather any storm and maintain our equilibrium in the face of life's ups and downs. External power may come and go, but the power to choose our own thoughts and actions is always within our grasp. Of course, the Stoics cautioned against becoming attached to or corrupted by worldly power. They emphasized that true freedom and happiness come from living virtuously, not from status, wealth, or control over others. As Seneca observed, most powerful is he who has power over himself. The ultimate form of power is the ability to master one's own mind and desires. Number 5. Power can be used to stand up for one's principles and beliefs. Standing up for what we believe in is not always easy. It often requires going against the grain, challenging the status quo, or risking disapproval from others. But the Stoics taught that living with integrity is essential to a life well lived. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Our actions should align with our principles, even if it comes at a personal cost. When we have power, whether through our position, influence, or resources, we have a greater capacity to defend our beliefs and advocate for what we think is right. We can use our voice and platform to speak truth to power, raise awareness about important issues, and rally others to our cause. We can make principled stands and lead by example, even in the face of resistance or backlash. This type of moral courage is exemplified by many of the great Stoic figures. Cato the Younger, for instance, was renowned for his unwavering commitment to his principles. As a senator in ancient Rome, he consistently opposed the corruption and excesses of his peers, even when it made him unpopular or put him in danger. He famously chose to take his own life rather than compromise his values by submitting to Julius Caesar's rule. Similarly, Epictetus, though born a slave, used his power of reason and moral conviction to challenge the injustices and follies he saw around him. He taught his students to cultivate inner strength and righteousness so they could remain true to their principles no matter what challenges they faced. As he put it, difficulties are things that show a person what they are. Of course, standing up for one's beliefs doesn't always require grand gestures or public acts of defiance. It can also mean making small, everyday choices to live with integrity, speaking up when we witness wrongdoing, refusing to participate in unethical behavior, treating others with fairness and respect, even when it's not the easy or popular thing to do. Ultimately, power in the Stoic view is not about imposing our will on others, but about having the strength of character to do what is right, even in difficult circumstances. It's about staying true to our principles, even when the path of least resistance would be to compromise or stay silent. As Seneca wrote, "The less we deserve good fortune, the more we hope for it." By using our power to stand up for our convictions, we demonstrate our worthiness of the privileges we hold. This type of moral courage is not about being perfect or infallible. The Stoics recognized that we all make mistakes and face temptations. What matters is that we strive to live up to our highest ideals, learn from our failures, and keep pushing forward. With power comes the responsibility to model integrity, even when it is hard, and in doing so, we inspire others to do the same. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. When we use our power to embody our principles and values, we fulfill our potential as moral agents and contribute to a more just and virtuous world. That is the essence of Stoic courage and righteousness. Number 6. With power, one has the means to pursue knowledge, wisdom, and self-improvement. One of the key ways power enables self-improvement is by giving us access to education and learning. With financial security and free time, we can invest in developing our minds and expanding our knowledge. We can attend classes, workshops, and seminars, hire tutors or coaches, travel to broaden our horizons, and immerse ourselves in new ideas and experiences. As Seneca wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." Moreover, power can provide us with the platform and credibility to seek out mentors, experts, and wise individuals who can guide us on our path of growth. We can surround ourselves with people who challenge us to think deeper, aim higher, and be better. As Marcus Aurelius reflected, surround yourself with people who have faced up to their weaknesses and overcome them, and who take delight in doing what is right. Having power also means having the autonomy and control over our lives to prioritize our own development. We can carve out time for reflection, meditation, and self-examination, practices highly valued by the Stoics for gaining self-awareness and mental mastery. We can create an environment and lifestyle conducive to focus and learning, rather than being at the mercy of external demands and distractions. Of course, the pursuit of wisdom and virtue is not a solitary endeavor. The Stoics believed we have a duty to share our knowledge and insights with others and to contribute to the collective good. With power comes the opportunity to be a teacher, mentor, or role model for others on their own paths of growth. As Seneca advised, while we teach, we learn. Furthermore, by using our power and influence to promote wisdom and virtue in society, we help create conditions for others to flourish as well. We can champion education, support the arts and sciences, and advocate for policies and initiatives that foster learning and self-improvement. In doing so, we fulfill the Stoic ideal of cosmopolitanism, the belief in our shared humanity and responsibility to the greater whole. Ultimately, the Stoics saw the pursuit of wisdom and self-improvement not as a selfish indulgence, but as a moral imperative. By striving to be our best selves, we better equip ourselves to serve others and live a life of purpose. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do what is necessary and whatever the reason of a social animal naturally requires, and as it requires." Number 7. Power enables individuals to be self-sufficient and not dependent. One of the central tenets of Stoicism is that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from external factors like wealth, status, or the approval of others. The Stoics believed that we should strive to be self-reliant and not give others power over our emotional well-being or sense of self-worth. As Epictetus taught, do not depend on external things, but rather on yourself, your character, your judgment. Having power, whether in the form of skills, knowledge, resources, or autonomy, allows us to put this principle into practice. When we are self-sufficient, we are less vulnerable to the whims of fortune or the actions of others. We can take care of ourselves and our responsibilities without needing to rely on anyone else's help or permission. This doesn't mean that Stoics advocated for a life of isolation or complete independence. They recognized the value of relationships and the importance of contributing to society, but they emphasized that we should cultivate the inner strength and resilience to stand on our own 2 feet, so that we can engage with others from a place of wholeness and self-possession. For example, if we have the power of financial security, We are not beholden to an employer or forced to tolerate mistreatment or compromise our values just to make ends meet. If we have the power of a strong network and reputation, we have more options and opportunities available to us and are not dependent on any one person or connection. If we have the power of robust physical and mental health, we are better able to face difficulties and setbacks without being overwhelmed or incapacitated. Moreover, being self-sufficient allows us to take full ownership of our choices and actions. We can't blame others for our problems or expect them to solve them for us. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." When we have the power to chart our own course, we also have the responsibility to navigate it wisely and bear the consequences of our decisions. This doesn't mean that self-sufficiency is always easy, or that we will never need help. The Stoics acknowledge that we are all interdependent, and that there is no shame in seeking support when we truly need it. But they believed that we should always strive to develop our own inner resources and capabilities so that we can face life's ups and downs with resilience and equanimity. Number 8. Those with power have the opportunity to be magnanimous, generous, and to help others. Those with power have the opportunity to be magnanimous, generous, and to help others, exemplifying the Stoic ideal of cosmopolitanism and the brotherhood of humanity. Stoicism teaches that we are all part of a universal community and that we have a duty to use our abilities and resources for the benefit of our fellow human beings. When we have power, we are in a unique position to make a positive difference in the lives of others. The Stoics believed that we should cultivate a sense of solidarity with all people, recognizing our shared humanity and common struggles. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "We were born to work together like feet, hands and eyes, like the two rows of teeth, upper and lower. To obstruct each other is unnatural. To feel anger at someone, to turn your back on him, these are obstructions." When we have power, whether through wealth, influence, skills or privilege, we have a greater capacity to put this philosophy into action. We can use our resources to lift up those who are less fortunate, to create opportunities for others to thrive, and to contribute to the greater good of society. This might take the form of philanthropy, volunteering, mentoring, or using our platform to advocate for important causes. It could mean using our business to create jobs and support communities, using our expertise to solve problems and improve lives, or using our leadership position to promote fairness, inclusion, and ethical conduct. The key is to approach power not as a means of personal aggrandizement, but as a tool for service and positive impact. As Seneca wrote, "No one can live happily who has regard for himself alone and transforms everything into a question of his own utility. You must live for your neighbor if you would live for yourself." Being magnanimous and generous with our power doesn't mean that we neglect our own needs or well-being. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-care and attending to our own flourishing. But they also recognized that true fulfillment comes from living a life of purpose and contribution, not just personal pleasure or gain. Moreover, by using our power to help others, we also benefit ourselves in profound ways. We build meaningful connections and relationships, we gain a sense of perspective and gratitude, and we cultivate the virtues of compassion, kindness, and empathy. As Marcus Aurelius observed, people exist for one another. You can instruct or endure them. Of course, being generous with our power doesn't mean that we can fix every problem or save every person. The Stoics recognized that there are limits to what any one individual can do, and that some things are beyond our control. But what matters is that we do what we can, with what we have, where we are. As Epictetus taught, It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Number 9. Power can provide the resources and platform to create change. Throughout history, many Stoic figures have exemplified this principle of using power for the sake of justice. Cato the Younger, for instance, was known for his uncompromising integrity and his willingness to stand up to corruption and tyranny in the Roman government, even at great personal cost. He used his position as a senator to call out the abuses of power he saw around him, and to advocate for the rule of law and the rights of citizens. Similarly, Marcus Aurelius used his power as emperor to institute reforms aimed at creating a fairer and more equitable society. He worked to reduce corruption, protect the rights of women and children, and provide assistance to the poor and marginalized. Even in the face of political opposition and personal challenges, he remained committed to using his influence for the greater good. The Stoics believed that we all have a duty to work for the betterment of humanity and to challenge injustice wherever we see it. As Seneca wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for a kindness." When we have power, we have a greater opportunity and a greater responsibility to put this principle into practice. This might mean using our wealth to support organizations fighting poverty, inequality, or discrimination. It could mean using our platform to raise awareness about human rights abuses, environmental destruction, or other pressing issues. It could mean using our skills and expertise to develop solutions to social problems or to empower marginalized communities. Of course, challenging injustice and advocating for change is not always easy or popular. It often means going against the status quo, speaking uncomfortable truths, and risking backlash or retaliation from those in power. But the Stoics believed that living with integrity and standing up for what is right is more important than personal comfort or gain. Number 10. Having power allows one to lead by example. The Stoics believed that true leadership is not about dominating or controlling others, but about inspiring and empowering them to be their best selves. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Teach them then, or bear with them." A Stoic leader sees their role as one of service, guidance, and moral authority, not just in word, but in deed. When we have power, whether in our personal or professional lives, we have a platform to demonstrate what it looks like to live with integrity, courage, justice, and self-discipline. We can show others what it means to prioritize virtue over external rewards, to maintain equanimity in the face of challenges, to treat all people with respect and compassion, and to take responsibility for our choices and actions. By modeling these qualities consistently in our own lives, we earn the trust and admiration of those around us. We become a reference point for what is possible and what is right. As Epictetus taught, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. This doesn't mean that Stoic leaders are perfect or infallible, far from it. The Stoics were deeply attuned to human flaws and limitations, starting with their own, but they believed that we should continuously strive to improve ourselves and to close the gap between our professed values and our actual behavior. Moreover, Stoic leadership is not just about setting a good example, but also about actively cultivating wisdom and virtue in others. It's about mentoring, teaching, and creating environments where people can learn and grow. As Seneca wrote, "Men learn as they teach." This might involve providing opportunities for education and development, fostering open and honest dialogue, and encouraging people to think critically and act ethically. It could mean creating a culture of accountability, where people feel safe to take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them. It could mean empowering people to take ownership of their work and their lives, and to find meaning and purpose in what they do. Number 11. Power can grant individuals the resilience and fortitude to overcome hardships. The Stoics understood that external circumstances are often beyond our control. We cannot always prevent misfortune, loss, or difficulty from happening to us. But what we can control is how we respond to these events, the thoughts we choose to believe, the emotions we allow to guide us, and the actions we take in the face of adversity. This is where inner power comes into play. When we have a strong sense of self, rooted in our values and principles, we are less easily swayed by the winds of fate. We have an anchor that keeps us steady and centered, even in the roughest of seas. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Building this inner resilience requires ongoing practice and discipline. The Stoics recommended various exercises and habits to strengthen the mind and cultivate fortitude. These include regularly reflecting on one's mortality, practicing gratitude, examining one's impressions and judgments, and engaging in physical and mental challenges to build endurance. By consistently working to develop our inner resources, we expand our capacity to handle stress, setbacks, and hardships. We learn to find opportunity in adversity, to adapt to changing circumstances, and to maintain a sense of perspective and equanimity in the face of difficulty. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or dispositions, because we can accommodate and adapt. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting." This doesn't mean that Stoics are immune to pain, fear, or discouragement. They feel these emotions just like anyone else, but they strive not to be controlled by them and to use them as fuel for growth and resilience. They recognize that challenges are inevitable in life, but how we meet those challenges is up to us. Thank you for watching this video on the 12 Stoic reasons highlighting the importance of power, as taught by Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic philosophers. We've explored how power, when wielded with wisdom and virtue, can be a force for positive change in our lives and the world around us. The Stoics understood that by cultivating inner strength and using power responsibly, we can navigate life's challenges and make a meaningful impact. If you found value in these Stoic teachings and wish to delve further into the world of Stoicism, I invite you to sign up for our exclusive Stoic newsletter. Each week, we deliver insightful articles, practical exercises, and thought-provoking quotes straight to your inbox. Our newsletter is designed to help you integrate Stoic principles into your daily life, empowering you to lead a life of purpose, resilience, and virtue. To join our community of Stoic enthusiasts, you can sign up using the link that will be shown on the end screen or by clicking on the link in the video description. Once again, thank you for joining me in exploring the importance of power through the lens of Stoicism. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell to stay updated on future content. Thank you all for watching, and may you find peace and serenity in the Stoic ways.